Samurais battling cowboys on this week's episode of Training Day, Season 1, Episode 3, coming at you.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
This is the track right here.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh. Yes. This is if you don't know about this East Coast-ish.
Classic.
Yes.
This is when Lauryn Hill was not a solo artist. She was with the Fugees.
And the Cosby Show is still going, because if you look at young Camel Toes.
Taking it back to Hillman.
So what's up, y'all? My name is TK Trinidad. Welcome to Training Day's After Show. We are here.
Yeah.
My name is TK Trinidad. You can follow me on everything, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. Also, we're going to be live chatting on the YouTube page, AFTERBUZZ TV. All your comments, I really, really appreciate it. I think we all appreciate it, good or bad. We have tough skin, so just give it to us. My co-host tonight.
Hey everybody, I'm Gregg, aka LG, aka Old Camel Toe over here, Old and Dusty Camel Toe. And you can find me on Algie_Jamaica House Film. That's my IG, and follow me at SoundClash City on Twitter.
Yo, it's Emmanuel Wright. Instagram, Young Camel Toe, YUNG Camel Toe, and Twitter, David Spitz. Blah.
Yeah.
You mean Dr. Bill Cosby tonight?
You know.
That is
I poured my own drink tonight, though. I'm good.
Hey, they call me AKA Theo, AKA Young Theo.
You know, have you met Theo in person?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, super. Where did you meet him at?
I was on set. I was just doing background work, and he sat with the background actors. He like didn't want to sit.
Oh
with
yeah, humble.
Yeah, he's a humble dude.
Yeah, I saw him at the airport from Toronto to LA, and he just looked so peaceful. I'm like, eventually I'm gonna see you. So I was came in late to this workout class, and he was in the workout class already. I was like, that's effing Theo. Right. I was like, okay. So after the class, I'm like, my mom really loves you, which is, you know, she does, but it's total. I was like, I really want to get a picture from my mom. So I sent it to my mom.
For your mom.
Yeah, for my mom. So I took the picture. He looks really great for his age. So I took the picture, sent it to my mom, and my mom's first response was, is he single? And I'm like,
that's a good response.
yeah. Anyways, Training Day, Episode 3, Code of Honor. What do you guys think overall?
Code of Honor, I don't know, man. Kind of jumped the shark for me, but we'll get into that later.
I don't know. I mean, hey, stuff happened. We're gonna get into it.
So I think there was a deeper meaning to it all. So the opening scene is essentially Frank is talking about how there's no honor in society anymore. So his line was, honor is just the name that they give baby girls in Westwood. Just if you live in LA, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, and he kind of took it back to the real honor was the back in the day, you know, when we defended the Alamo.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Well, like all those stuff, like you defended the Alamo, like your handshake was your bond, like whatever you said was. Now everybody has contracts. People want to sue people. Like, you know, everybody's backbiting. Like your word doesn't really mean much these days unless you prove yourself to whoever that individual is. So I kind of get what he was trying to say. I just think the episode was a little bit on the slow side.
And side note, though, also the Yakuza obviously had their own sense of honor.
Right. So essentially they Frank is kind of sets up the scene that's going to be some type of, you know, cowboy-esque type thing going on. So now I had to like really dig through IMDb, right? DB, yeah, to look up these two characters.
Slip something in a drink.
Now you made it. Detective Okuzi and Detective Butler, which is like the short black guy. Do you remember where he's from? He's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but those two dudes are the biggest cornballs.
I love that element of it. Like I love the fact that they're mixing up, they're breaking up the action with a little bit of comedy. So Detective Okuzi and Detective Baker. So essentially they bring in Frank and Kyle for this whole kind of sting operation. There's a whole bunch of drugs that's being sold. MDMA that's being sold, and they want to bring them in. And the reason they want to bring them in is because not Alvarez. I'm getting all my characters mixed up with all these shows. The homeboy, the CI. No, the CI.
Oh, Carlos Cortez.
Carlos Cortez.
He is a snitch.
Or the snitch.
Snitches
But
get
he's happy to
stitches.
be a snitch in this one. He's
Right.
friends with his,
And
the snitch's family.
we actually get to know a little bit about Frank too. So Carlos Cortez, aka the snitch, he really wants Frank on this job with him because he feels like Frank has his back because Frank has been there from the beginning. So what do you guys feel about the relationship between Carlos and Frank?
I thought it was a cute relationship. I mean,
Cute.
It started out. It was cute because I mean, you know, Frank. It started out with Frank, you know, basically chasing Carlos and being like, "Oh, stop selling drugs," you know. But he was like nice about it. He was like, "He's a good kid. He's just, you know, in like a rough part of town.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna help him out." And it just, you know, grew to the, you know, to the point where he's swinging baseball bats and getting tips from Frank.
I think I think Frank has like a softness for kids.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have kids, that we know of. He doesn't have kids, so he has this thing that I think he has the hope that kids don't become corrupt until later on in life. So he's hoping that he can impact them in some way, shape, or form to kind of not go the path that he's going, or you know everybody else around them is going. So I think it's definitely admirable.
True, yeah, but it was also just so storybook, you know what I mean? When have you ever seen a cop have that kind of relationship with the snitch's family? Goes home, kisses the kids,
Yeah, but
hugs
he
the
was
wifey.
no longer a snitch anymore.
He called him, dude. He called him back for one more snitch.
Yeah, because the wife was out of work and he wanted to help his family. He was being a man.
I love how they portray like the Rosie and Daisy portrayal between cop and CI. Well, oh no, that's like pimping.
But look at Moreno and Frank. That relationship is.
That's a little bit different. No,
Right.
I think Moreno's getting broken off on the side though.
So we can just fast forward to Moreno. So Moreno, he's also the AKA snitch. So essentially, they'll just bring it up to speed. So Frank and the crew agreed to help out with this sting, and long story short, so Frank, we find out later on in the episode that Frank is the godfather to Carlos's daughter because Frank and Billy essentially kind of had a part to play in Carlos's rearing and growing up. They had the baseballs and all, very touching, very, you know, whatever. So it was cute. So Carlos gets shot, which is kind of one of those things I feel like if he was just watching the yard, why didn't he have a bulletproof vest?
Because Frank thought he could run faster. He even says after he gets shot, "You damn fat son of a bee, why couldn't you run faster?"
You have that on your phone right
Yeah.
now? Okay.
That was quoted.
Research.
So, but I don't understand. Isn't that, you know, our detective for tonight? Isn't that like protocol?
I've never heard of them actually giving the CIs a vest, truthfully. But what just bothered me about the whole thing, it was just too clean and by the numbers, and it turns out to be a setup where, you know, the Yakuza actually set Carlos up to smoke out the snitch.
Right.
And, you know, they end up, as you said, taking him out. And, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but, you know, but what you were alluding to about Moreno coming in later.
Right.
Frank ends up, with this partner Kyle, they end up tracing a lead. They go into the club. They bust the Yakuza, the gang, a couple of goons, not the main guy, one of the guys with the mohawk. They take him in.
Are you like shaking the table? You okay?
Oh, okay.
Is somebody chasing you? You just took a moment just to do the show with us, then you gonna go back on the streets? Like, what's going on?
Too much coffee.
This table is shaking, y'all. I'm like, dang, like, you know, did you bust a pimp before you got in here? What's the deal? All right, so actually backtrack to the Yakuza. So the thing about them is I didn't quite get why they were after Carlos. Like, Carlos seemed like a very small fry to like actually set something up to kill him.
No, he's a big snitch. There's nothing small about Carlos.
Yeah, but he was out of the game though.
But I'm just saying.
And he just came back for one, so he was out for years, according to the storyline.
No, that's what he said though. But he is snitch though. Like, he's probably trying to be like, yeah, you know what? I don't do this anymore. Look, Frank. Here's the last one. Like, look, I've been good with my family. Like, we just need a little bit more dollars. Nah, he was doing the same thing.
So you think that maybe he sensed that it was going to be a little bit more dangerous, so that's why he brought Frank and Kyle in?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess so. But that's the case. Then why didn't he ask for a vest?
Because he's Carlos. He's not that smart. Like you saw him in the beginning scene just getting caught. Like, that's just not a smart
but he just
move.
can't run. He was just chubby.
But he was a useful idiot. You knew he was going down.
You knew he was going down. His wife was bad too.
Yeah.
Shout out to.
So that was another thing that was unrealistic.
Yeah.
He would never got that
Very unrealistic.
How is that unrealistic?
Because he was being like, he was like way too nice and happy. He had like all the toys out in the front.
That's the whole thing. Maybe she just wanted a nice guy, and looks wasn't like, she could have had like a really nice, really hot looking guy.
Would you have gone out with Carlos?
But he's too nice.
Would I have gone out with Carlos?
He's a nice guy.
It depends. Like I have a couple other things. Like I don't mind the looks, but yeah, there's some other things that I have like my top 5 reasons. And
gotta look like Theo Huxtable.
So anyways. So Carlos gets shot, all that good stuff. So the Yakuza sets him up, and now Frank figures that out because now he's pissed off at everybody for getting Carlos shot because he's the godfather to this guy's daughter. And I think, again, Frank gets close to particular people, like, everybody else he could care less about, but there's certain people he has invested interest in.
People from the past.
Yeah, people from the past that impacted.
Whenever he has a flashback, he's like, oh, you know what, I care.
I care at this very moment.
Right, flashback happened, I care now.
Is that what happens? Is that what happened with your sweater?
What do you mean? It was
She's on one tonight, man.
It was a flashback to what?
It's like Cosby, 80s.
I had a flashback of Cosby?
Yeah, you just put it on.
No, this was a Biggie Smalls flashback.
Coochie sweater.
Baby.
So now they go and they attack the Yakuza and they find Yakuza.
Yeah, you keep saying
Yakuza is something else.
What is a Yakuza?
You sitting on one.
Here we go. I thought tonight would have been a little bit smoother,
you
but
started it.
Here we go. So Yakuza. So they managed to knock back one. He's dead. He's dead. And Frank searched through all actually what I also found too, when Frank was kind of going through the Yakuza's, like, his pockets and flipping him over, that black dude who was like from the, like, I want to say the collection agency essentially, who's collecting bodies, he's kind of giving this commentary, which in most cop shows that doesn't happen. Like, he was very like laid back, like, oh, you don't want any gloves, this is very like unsanitary. It just felt weird, like he was breaking protocol, but he was just like allowing him to do that.
Yeah, and the way they covered it up was just like terrible exposition. Oh yeah, I have so much whiskey in my blood, that's why I'm immune,
Yeah, it's just it seemed that part seemed a lot of parts in this episode seem very loose,
kind of clunky.
Yeah. So he finds out that he's part of the Yakuza. And then he tracks them down to this club that they are all affiliated with, and which is kind of funny because when he knocks on the door and he shows the money, it's just kind of like the door guy would know, like, this is a new guy.
Fake.
Yeah, like he just opens it like, what do you want? No guns, no backup. Like, that just seemed kind of weird too. Detective for the night.
I mean, that's just one of my many problems with tonight. I'm trying to like think of the parts I enjoy, but at a certain point, tonight's episode kind of had a few lapses in credibility.
Right. So they get in there, he shoots one, he's about to shoot another one, which I guess is some type of informant for the FBI. FBI storms in and says, like, we've been covering this place has been bugged and we've been covering it for, months on end. Which is kind of also weird because if the FBI knew that Frank was involved, why didn't they at least pull Frank off the case? Like, it's like Carlos was like a sacrificial lamb, but I still understand why. Like, I understand he because he's a snitch, he got shot, but I understand how it seems like he was so much of the glue for all these other little parts to happen.
I think the FBI went along with it because they knew Frank was going to drop that very hot fire Pokemon message. Did you hear that message? He said, hey, look. He looked at the Yakuza right in his eye. He like, look, man, I already caught red and green. All I need now is blue. And I'm here to catch them all. That's Pokemon. You know about that? Green version, though. Hey, green version only came out in Japan, where the Yakuza's from.
Peep game, everybody.
That's hot fire.
In addition to the fact that Frank...
That's why the FBI let him do it.
There you go. And Frank, they probably knew Frank's relationship with Carlos and that he wouldn't feel comfortable doing it with anybody else watching his back. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's all pretty thin.
Yeah, it's very, very loose. So anyways, they FBI takes over. They take the blue guy.
Yeah.
The blue guy with the mohawk, mohawk.
They caught the blue guy.
They caught the blue guy.
The blue Pokemon.
They caught
it was
the blue.
Blastoise.
They caught the blue guy and they take him.
Is there something racist about that?
I don't know. We'll find out in the comments.
It's happening.
So we caught the blue guy, put him in jail. So now Frank is going to talk to Lockhart, and he's essentially talking to Lockhart. But while he's doing that, pretty much distracting her, they send Moreno in. I love this guy.
That was my favorite scene.
Yeah.
He comes strolling up.
I think that was the scene of the night.
Oh my God! He's like, they're like, what's your name? I'm from ICE. My name is Andy Garcia. And he's wearing like some Chuck Taylors with a cheap ass suit.
Oh my God!
I'm here to pick up the Japanese national. Go ahead, homie. Check your database.
And the guy knew. So everybody else, Rebecca and Tommy, and I think Kyle was with Frank. Rebecca and Tommy were in the truck, and they essentially set up the call because they knew they were gonna, because Moreno can only pull off so much. They set up the call and essentially tell the security guard that the guy could be released to Moreno. Moreno takes a security guard, puts him in the truck. So that whole thing.
The ice cream truck.
The ice cream truck.
That was the ice cream truck. I feel like that was Moreno's side hustle.
The ice cream. You know what? We might see that ice cream truck next week. Hopefully,
so.
the storyline gets better. But we'll see.
He's selling drugs at the ice cream truck.
Well, I mean, he was the gold guy last week.
He's like Big Worm.
That's the thing. I was about to say.
He's like Big Worm.
The ice cream truck is like an OG thing from the Bay.
Hey, what you got on my chili Fritos, homie? What you got on my 40, homie? Hey, Moreno.
Just a Canadian girl just live in an American world.
Welcome to LA.
I know. So they capture him, and now the FBI goes in and they accuse Frank of stealing the guy. And Frank's like, I've been here the whole time, with Lockhart, which is pretty. That was probably, as far as storyline goes, like stringing it together for it to make sense. That was probably the only part where it's like, okay. He foresaw what was going to happen, so he kind of put it together, and it came about. But the rest, not so much. So then we find out while Frank and Kyle are in the office that they find out what's his name, Takashi, who he introduces himself as the boss, the shipping boss, and turns out he is like the main boss.
But he was playing the role like, hey man, I inherited this from my family. I don't know anything about Yakuza, what is that?
And he said he was like from Denver or something like that. So, and he pulled off the accent well, like, because sometimes, so this sounds terrible, but sometimes you think, it's like, oh yeah, this person's from somewhere else, and then he speaks like, oh no, you're American, or you're whatever, like, oh, you're from the South, like all that type of stuff. So he pulls it off real well. That's actually believable. Then they fast forward, or they shoot to the next scene where now he's like this samurai warrior, which is another. I don't know if they could have put more into it. It was just
you
like,
didn't buy that?
No.
No, he was a weak samurai.
Yeah,
very weak samurai.
It's just kind of like, it's like one moment he was that, like they tried to tie everything up in one episode, and it seemed like there's just a lot of like holes that you can poke. Like his character wasn't fully developed. For one scene, he's in a business suit and says he's this, and the next scene, like it just.
Except to mirror the whole motif of you got like Frank is the cowboy representing, white American cowboy gung ho versus Japanese form of honor, and like you see in that scene, or later on, he has one of his goons who messed up, commit harry-carry, But I guess it's just to set up that contrast.
But he doesn't even let him do it.
I know. Yeah, it wasn't too honorable.
He
really.
wasn't too honorable.
Yeah.
And he didn't do it with style. It was almost kind of like, oh, you did that? Oh, okay, cool. Like it didn't feel Japanese.
Yeah, it
did. It really did.
It just seemed very off.
Yeah.
So, we get all that. We find out the Takashi is like the boss, and he's running things. And the whole thing now is, you didn't see what the bigger picture was. So essentially the main picture was there's a whole bunch of drugs that's going to be coming into the port, and they want to use those drugs, I'm guessing, to distribute in LA. Yeah. But there wasn't, it just seemed very like, well, what's the main, like, is that it? Because that seems very like low level, like
money.
Yeah, well, money, but it's just kind of like, it seemed like low.
I guess you're supposed to think that the volume of drugs, because they had like a big old crate of that MDMA, and it's supposed to be like the new thing, so they call it Sphinx. That's the street name. So it's supposed to be the new revolutionary drug. Or
is that what it is?
Supposedly.
Can you confirm?
I've never
MDMA,
taken Sphinx. Never known.
It's not that new though. It's more like 2000. It's like 2011, 2012. Pho's been around
When I was
for
around,
like
they used to call it X, but that's the old days.
But it's the pure form, though.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's why they call it that. Not that I do it or not. Not that I know how to make
we
that.
We just got through Googling that.
You know, I saw the Yelp reviews on MDMA. It was cool.
Okay, so yeah, my thing is, I guess because I've been covering a lot of other cop shows and shows like that. It just feels like if you're a samurai warrior and you have all these other people below you handing you swords and all this other stuff, it feels like there's more to it than just selling drugs, even though it's a ridiculous amount of drugs flooding LA. Like, it just seems like there should have been something else. So I feel like they just didn't develop his character.
There should have been some like Buddhist philosophy coming from it.
Yeah, something like that, or like maybe his sister is actually the one that's really running the show, and he's obviously they can only do so much in an hour, but it feels like this episode compared to the other ones,
it was very surface level.
Yeah, the tie-ins and all were just not that great, as I keep on saying, because I did spend time watching this episode, and time is money. So so we find out that he's the boss and all that stuff, and then the shark, the shark scene, which is another loose one, because
was there a shark in that tank?
It was supposed to be a shark.
There was a shark.
I didn't feel like there was a shark in that tank.
Well, you saw the fin.
Yeah, I think it was a fake fin.
CGI fin.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it was just like.
Because when he got thrown in, and
Suddenly the shark was gone.
And Tommy was like, "Oh, I didn't think you were actually gonna throw him in." He didn't look like he didn't know that she was gonna throw him in.
And the story with Tommy, where he's saying that he was a surfer. Now, do you believe that story? Or do you think he's just telling that story
I
to
actually
scare the
believe
guy?
that's his backstory.
No, I believe that.
Yeah,
that's
like I'm hoping that's his backstory, because he seems very surfer-esque. Yeah. So they throw him in the pool with the shark, and it's just kind of like one of those things. Like, I almost, and this sounds really bad, I almost wish that after he finished telling like everything that he could tell, the shark comes and eat him or bites him. Like, I wish that would have happened, or like took a limb or something.
I just wish the shark would have appeared.
Yeah,
and, he would have had and then they would have been like, "Oh wait, the shark's still there."
Right, and then they pull him out, but it's just like, oh, he told the truth, so now we're gonna pull him out. Like, just take a toe off or something. I don't know. So again, another
plot hole.
Yeah.
But what about the red string of fate that Tommy
had
on Rebecca?
Yeah,
I think that was smooth. That was a smooth move, brother.
It was smooth, but it did kind of come out of nowhere. But I think they've been teasing the whole Tommy Rebecca relationship.
Tommy's gonna get those.
He's gonna get those.
He's already getting those.
He's already getting those.
Those. Yeah.
Yakuzi's.
The Yeezys. I don't know. It's on the Yeezys.
So Tommy's either getting those or Tommy's planning to get those.
Yeah.
Y'all know what I mean by he's getting those.
Yeah. So is that how you like put the lines on for the ladies, or?
That's the PG version.
Young Campbell with the game.
I think in one of your YouTube videos, is there one where you're picking up the ladies? I haven't gotten to see them. I just seen the current ones.
Yeah. I dabble with the pickup lines and stuff like that. I got a new pickup line. Look, fellas out there.
Oh boy.
When you walk up to a girl with a tattoo, just walk up to her and be like, "Hey, I like your tattoo. Does that read Netflix and chill?" Bam, that worked for me today. She was like, "Nah." I said, "Dinner and a date." I said, "El Pollo Loco?" She said, "Yeah. Meet me at 5.
Game, everybody, soak this up. Young Camel Toe in the house.
So, anyways, they managed to get the location of the drugs from the guy, which so happens to be the exact place where they Carlos got shot.
Yeah.
We were staring at it the whole time.
Right. It just.
And that same guy was from Danville, California. He talked about it. I don't know if you guys noticed that. He was like, he was like, "What do you know about the Yakuza?" He's like, "I don't know. I'm from Danville, California. All I know is what I've seen in the movies."
That's okay. Gotcha. I missed that part. So, but this is a funny thing. This is a detective for tonight. I'm assuming that somebody gets shot. They had the sting where Carlos was there and Frank was there and everything like that. After everything is done, there's somebody who sweeps the area. I mean, again, I know a few cops and FBI agents, and again, I don't, this is my reference. I'm assuming I've seen enough cop shows. That's kind of usually what happens. So I'm just.
Yeah, but they're not really cops. They're really not. They're like, it feels more like Bad Boys Cops, you know, where they kind of...
Right, no, but Frank is the bad boy cops, but the real cops, the real cops brought Frank and them in. So even though Frank left and he's on his way to do the whole thing with Carlos, there still should be protocol after that the real cops do.
But this is a show about Frank. It's not a show about real cops.
Yeah, but now it just left a whole another hole, because if they sweep the area, they probably would have found the drugs.
That's true.
You're thinking too much.
But it wouldn't be an episode.
I know, but this is the whole problem. This is the problem. How am I poking holes? I'm not even a cop, and I've poked what, 11?
Yeah, but those real cops do come back, and they pop the Yakuza at the end.
Well, it's not the real cops. I mean,
the feds.
No, the Detective Wendowski and Detective Baker.
You know,
I think they're gonna have a reoccurring role.
You know what was cool about that though? What I really find interesting
the pastries.
is that. No, the pastries. That line.
That was a funny line.
He was like, hey, why do you guys bring me here? You guys only have pastries. You know,
yeah,
I like that.
That was a good line.
But those the feds or whatever, they killed all the Yakuza guys that Frank and his boys couldn't do with 4 shots. It went bam, 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 bam.
But wasn't it all in the back though? It was all in their backs because they didn't see them coming.
Yeah, but it wasn't. There was more than 4 people there.
Oh.
There was more than 4 people alive. All of a sudden, the camera splits and there's like 8 down. I'm like, yo, 4 shots? Y'all got ricochet bullets? Like, hold on. So they need a TV show.
No, because they came in. So the security guard catches Frank and the team at the warehouse or at the shipping yard. And Rebecca finds one of the security guards. She finds out. She looks at his phone. Apparently, he texts the main guy. And the main guy says, we're on our way, which is another whole... So they know they're on their way, and then this really big buff Asian dude, essentially like really big buff Asian dude, gives them 2 options, and so then Frank says, you know, whatever, and Frank shoots him, which is fine. But my thing is, if you know you're gonna be in these situations where there's gonna be guns, like why aren't any of these people wearing vests? But whatever,
because they were honorable.
Yeah, you want to be a gangster, whatever. So
did that text message say "hey" first? Did it start out with "hey"?
No. That's just how I start my text.
Oh, hey, we about to do this ambush. Hey.
Little emojis.
How you doing? Smiley face. Gunshots.
The water gun.
Gang.
So they shoot the main guy. And the thing with that, again, me watching, and you can let me know if this is true, after the main guy's shot, there has to be a second command. And there was nobody called anything like pull back or whatever, and they just stood there.
I think what we've all dug up is lots of continuity errors in that scene.
Yes. So they just stood there, and then they pulled out their guns, and then Frank and them pulled out their guns. And then this is a whole nother thing though. Like if you're gonna carry a gun, I feel like there's always like a backup gun somewhere. Like you have the main gun, and then you have like a gun strapped to your ankle.
Yeah, they all ran out of bullets.
Yeah, they all of them.
Horrible shots.
Nobody had any other.
What was Frank's name in the last episode? What'd they give him? No, he was the the underground guy.
What do you mean?
They gave him a name in the last episode. Frank was the he was like the underground killer, killing criminals.
Oh, the fictitious
yeah.
The word that means boogeyman in Spanish.
Yeah, okay. I'll get it for you. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. But
yeah, what happened to that guy?
I know
he ran out of bullets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he had the chopper and everything. This time he only has like 1 pistol.
Right.
Yeah, it just seemed. And then where's their cars? Like even if you don't have the bullets on you, they had to drive.
TK, don't do this to yourself.
Against the Yakuza. They came to the Yakuza with pistols.
Right. It's like, and then there has to be a car with guns in
with
the car.
With the Dracos and the shotguns.
Yeah, like,
the Dracos.
It was just very.
They was playing like 93 James Bond. Like, come on, man, it's the future.
Yeah, it was just a lot of holes. So then wait a minute. Oh yes. So then they catch the guys. Oh no, before that, so they all run out of bullets. One after the other. All of them run out of bullets.
And they just stand there after. There's no movement. There's no like, let's go back. It's just like, all right, I'm out of bullets. You out of bullets? Yeah, I'm out of bullets. You out of bullets? All right, what should we do? Let's just stand here. They don't even move. They're just like, we're going to get this.
I was almost waiting for one of them to come up and just throw their gun at the guy. It's just like, is this gonna be like
Do a boomerang?
Yeah, because it's just one of the, like that type of episodes. Like, oh, there's some funny parts. Like maybe they're all out of bullets. So one of them's gonna throw a gun and hit one of them in the head.
I thought Frank was gonna like raise his hand and walk out and do one of his like, "Oh, my name is Frank, and you guys should work with me.
Right.
I can help you."
And then pull the gun that he should have had on his ankle out and.
Right. I don't know.
Anyways, Detective Wendowski and Detective Baker, who are actually my new favorites for this episode.
They ate the pastries. That's what happened. They ate all Frank's pastries.
And did you notice they were actually wearing bulletproof vests?
Yes.
The only two on the whole episode
Yeah.
that didn't need the bulletproof vests because they came from behind.
And they shot 8 dudes with 4 bullets, and then they smiled while walking. One of them had a
gun
limp.
on the shoulder.
Yeah, one of them had a limp, looking like he came straight from a Snoop Dogg music video.
So okay, so we just heard just a random sound in the background. So they caught them, and now Frank is now going to be battling with why do I always want to say Takashi? I want to say anyways, Takashi. Yeah. So he goes and battles with Takashi, comes in with the bat. Now, from what I remember, when Carlos gave Frank the bat, I swear it was like a plastic bat that you can get from like Walmart. But all of a sudden, the bat that Frank walked in with was an aluminum
fresh
bat.
aluminum bat.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it was a lighting.
But I think the bat was like red and.
Well, first of all,
it was a present. He had it in wrapping. Right.
Oh, gotcha.
But let's talk about the whole bat thing. That was just corny, like, to begin with. I mean, okay, because I'm an American cowboy cop, I'm gonna go in there and take on this yakuza with a bat.
That's the Fakuza. Okay, that's not even the real Kuza. That was the Fakuza.
Fokuza.
The Fokuza. The fake armies. Yeah, you know what he looked like? Yo, the Fakuza looked like
Fakuzi boys. Fakuzi boys.
Oh,
they
boy.
look like, what was his name? Chris Tucker's stunt double. That's what they look like in Rush Hour, swinging a sword, trying to be cute. Takashi was weak.
Yeah, and then he went to battle with Frank, so it was a bat against a sword.
Yeah.
So from what I know from like samurai type movies, these swords like pretty much can cut through anything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, if we're being realistic, the sword probably would have cut through that cheap aluminum bat.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But it didn't.
But I guess he wasn't one with the sword.
There you go. You gotta think like that. That's the way you gotta watch this.
Yeah, he was too angry. He didn't internalize his anger.
So he wasn't one with the sword, and him and Frank go at it. He gets a really good shot on Frank's back.
Right.
Like a really good slice on Frank's.
Should have been over.
Yeah, you think because
he never talks. He like anytime he's about to kill somebody, he just does it. He doesn't like stab him and then say something and then finish it.
Right.
Because Frank is the main character, though. He had to talk to him.
TV wound, flesh wound.
But it's so Frank manages to turn around and then get him, and then proceed to beat him to death with the bat.
Yep.
And as he's about to go ham on him, that's when, you know...
Kyle.
Softy.
Yep. Stop it right there, buddy. You don't want to kill him.
Looking like Malto Mill.
But actually, let's also go back. I think this is before that scene where Frank goes, oh, he's mourning Carlos's loss. And he goes to the graveyard to Billy, who is Kyle's dad.
Which is cool.
Which is cool, but it's also kind of weird because
like it.
It's just kind of like he's talking to the dad and the dad's talking to him, and now he's like, well, what are you going to do when he finds out? And it's like if the episode wasn't just so blah, that would have been a good, you know, like I can't wait to watch the next week's episode.
Right.
But
Billy
given everything
looks
else.
like a more responsible Cameron without the pink. Did anybody think that? Dipset. I kind of wanted Cameron to come in and be like, yo, that's your twin brother.
I kind of got like a Big Daddy Kane vibe.
Yeah.
From him. Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely more of like a 90s.
Yeah, like
golden
more like
era.
a Big Daddy Kane, like
Flat top.
Yeah. Like he had the mama at home, but he had other mamas in the street.
Yeah.
So look at you talking that game, TK.
I'm learning, I guess.
There you go.
So what do you think about that scene with the father? Do you think it was necessary? Do you think, because we already know through the other episodes that obviously Billy's death is, you know, Frank was involved in it. It wasn't like a clean death where, you know, they were doing something dirty and he got shot. So
yeah, we were talking about that. I mean, the Frank Billy's ghost is like, all right, does he know? Are you gonna tell him? So it's like a big look over here. Maybe he killed him. Maybe Frank popped him or he had something to do. So, what was your theories on that, man?
See, I feel like Frank might have killed Craig's dad.
Which is possible.
Yeah, maybe it was an accident. Maybe he had to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe just to cover up.
Kill me, man. Kill me, man.
Kill me, man. Do it for the greater good.
Right. But then the thing is, he's figuring out because Kyle's just not giving up. Right. So eventually Kyle's going to find out. And of course, this is TV, so you can't just tell him. But in real life, it's like, just tell him and get it over. Because either way, he's going to be pissed off.
But that would be the end of the show.
And here's the thing. I feel like when they tell him, like, Kyle's going to, like, cry and be mad for, like, a good 5 minutes. And then it's going to be the next scene. And Kyle's going to be like, all right, Frank, what are we doing now? It's like, come on, Kyle.
Yeah.
Like, stay with your anger for once.
Speaking of Kyle, too, disappointment, going right back to the beginning when him and Mrs. Craig...
Daddy issues.
I mean, I thought...
They just had no chemistry, though.
Well...
He's softer than a funnel cake. That's all I'm saying.
I was going to tag him on this episode, but clearly we're not going to tag him on this episode. So anyways, because I looked him up on Twitter. I was like, oh, this week...
Don't do it.
Yeah, we're not going to do
It's just the character. Not him. It's just the character.
We're not going to do that.
You got to find a good day for Kyle.
But, yeah, that kind of pre-sex scene type thing, and it's just kind of like...
Wah, wah.
Yeah, it almost seemed like it showed what the episode was gonna be like. Like you thought you were gonna get some, but you didn't.
but
Let me get it.
Oh yeah, I got a high five. That was a good one, right?
I did like the dialogue though when she was like, look, you know how it is. Like I go to work, you come home, we work out, and then we get to business. Like that's a cool schedule.
Exactly.
That was a good schedule.
Right. Like so you literally have what, half an hour, 90 minutes, an hour to like do what you need to do and then go back to thinking about the case. Like how long your dad's been dead for years now.
Or at least like fake the funk. Like just look like
I
you're not
think
thinking about
I think Kyle might be having some performance issues, man. His mind is clearly elsewhere.
What do you do when you have performance issues, guys?
Virtual reality experiences.
That's the one thing I wouldn't know about. But back to the ending.
This generation of kids is gonna be the first generation of kids to be caught beating the stick, beating the meat, and not even know about it. That's
Young Campbell is our resident expert on technology.
Wait,
I'm just getting hit to like the
beating
virtual
the meat
reality.
they wouldn't know what they're doing it?
No, they won't know that they got caught. Like when mom busting the door, like they gonna have the headset on because you have a headset when you watch it, so you in it 360 movement everywhere you go, you see it. So like you gonna be beating the stick and you just won't know that your mom walked in on you. It's gonna be the first. They gonna bust one right in front of mom with a smile, like.
Oh God.
I'm telling you.
That's what you. All right.
It's gonna happen.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna take us back to that term Leviathan, and that's kind of like the foreshadow that Billy's ghost drops to Frank. He's like, after they go through the whole like.
Oh yeah, the Isaiah.
Yeah, he quotes a biblical scripture.
Right.
And it basically says, okay, but it's it's not
Isaiah 27:1.
There you go, girl. What is it? Okay, yeah.
I'll look it up. What it says.
And maybe they can tell us in the chat.
Ooh, she said Isaiah. Well, she had that on deck. She
Yeah,
know
man.
them
Our girl knows the
I
scripture.
go to church.
Okay.
Jesus.
Christian woman.
Hey, don't y'all love the pastors who like will flip to a verse
Here we go.
and then will not find a verse and then flip to another verse real quick just because they're trying to just hide the fact that they couldn't find a verse. Like, who made this Bible? Like, it's a new Bible.
Terrible.
So maybe you could tell us about this Leviathan, though. But that verse refers to like a monster that is basically unkillable, unkillable by man.
In that day, the Lord will punish with his sword, which is a samurai reference, I guess. His fierce, great, and powerful sword, Leviathan, the gliding serpent, Leviathan, the coiling serpent. He will slay the monster of the sea. So I'll look. What is that sound? But whatever.
Something's buzzing. Yeah, Leviathan sounds like when they say the beast, sounds like the devil.
Yeah, like almost like a devil type thing. Yeah. So what you just want to find out what it was about, or
no, that was fine. That makes sense.
Leviathan is a sea monster reference in Takana or the Old Testament. The word has become synonymous with a large sea monster or creature in literature. There you go. Little education lesson for y'all.
There you go.
So they end it. He kills off Takashi, and then this is. Then they it's like you go through all these theories with all the holes in it, and then they leave happy that they did their job because the FBI comes in and swoops in. It's like, oh, well, we're going to take this and announce that, with help we were able to take down this mob boss. But the thing is, he's not really a mob boss if he just sells drugs.
He's not a mob boss. He's the.
It seems like the middleman, he's working for somebody else. Yeah. So is it really is this somebody detective? You let me know. Is this somebody you really?
I think that he is. He's the shot caller of the Yakuza in the United States.
Probably in Glendale. Not United States.
Montebello.
So he's not as big as we thought.
He's not as big
as we thought. Okay.
All these goons had Mazdas, 2005s.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and then they all hug and walk off, and that's the end.
And Frank doesn't get the credit because the feds coming to take the credit, right?
But then even after that part, then Kim and Kyle and Rebecca and Tommy just walk off, oh, we did a good job, and Kyle has a little thing with Rebecca, so we good, and she's like, yeah. Well, now, yeah, Kyle has a thing with Rebecca, and she's like, well, this is what Frank told me, and Kyle's like, well, this is what Frank is really doing, and she's like, well, I guess we're stuck with you until we find out who killed your dad, pretty much.
Rebecca did fire the first shots, though. Whenever Rebecca's in a gunfight, she fires the first shot. I've noticed that. So.
Well, I mean, I think she's gangster, more gangster than everybody else. She did. She gave that the guy I think that she threw into the Shark Tank a bitch slap. Did you see that?
She did.
I
missed that.
Yeah, a backhanded shut your mouth type thing. If Rebecca and Camel Toe were in a relationship, Rebecca would be running it.
No.
You would be abused.
How?
He would be.
How? I would see that coming from a mile away.
You would be abused.
Every time Rebecca kind of smirks, she does something dumb. No.
I mean, you have to call the detective hey, we haven't seen young Camel Toe in 2 weeks.
I would have Frank on my side. I'll be Frank, handle that. And I have Alonzo's kid. They don't know. Yeah, where's Alonzo's kids? Grandkids.
Predictions.
Yeah, predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Frank killed Kyle's daddy. And when he finds out, his daddy issues are gonna grow.
Yeah, I think obviously they've been what's in your face, the surface level is Tommy and Rebecca, but I still say, that
Rebecca
and Kyle have this, unresolved sexual tension because they hate each other at first, and that's the people we usually see, screwing later on.
They're gonna accidentally screw.
Accidentally just fall.
He's just gonna fall. She's gonna just
fall
on
into it. Yeah, oops. And then Rebecca's gonna be like, what happened last time? What do you mean? Oh yeah, what do you mean? They're gonna act like nothing happened.
Yeah, and it's gonna be weird.
It's gonna be weird.
And then Tommy's gonna beat up Kyle.
Tommy's cool. I feel like he's one with the.
Well, Kyle's
gun.
wife, girlfriend, she needs to get some, so maybe Tommy will help that out.
Okay, there we go. Now you're thinking.
Hopefully, Kyle's girlfriend gets laid next week.
With Tommy?
Whoever.
That would make it interesting.
That's your prediction.
Whoever, Kyle, whoever the writers are. I'm sure everything's in the can, but she needs to get some love because this is ridiculous. So I think
I want her to get kidnapped.
Oh, that would be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't she doesn't have enough talk time.
No, I'm just saying make Kyle vulnerable in
He's already vulnerable.
He's vulnerable about past things that happen, but he never really has somebody who he really cares about.
Yeah, if she gets kidnapped, then he's gonna wish that he put in the work. Yeah. So she has something to hold on to.
Something to put some wood in his pencil.
Hey, that number 2.
You know what I'm saying?
That number 2.
You know what I'm saying? Strong like bull.
You mean number 12? Anyways,
I'm taking it deep over it.
What is this?
So hopefully Kyle's girlfriend gets laid. I don't see the whole Kyle and Rebecca thing, but we'll see. I definitely see, I think I said this last week, so hopefully we'll talk about it. We got a little bit of it this week, the whole story with Tommy's backstory. And of course, Frank is getting in some trouble with somebody else. and you know, there's gonna be somebody else that I kind of almost want to see something happen to Moreno where Frank has to come and save him. Like to see how important he, just beyond a snitch or a CI, how important Moreno, like that relationship with him.
I want to see Frank get in trouble and Moreno come and save Frank.
That would be hilariously funny.
I want a Moreno episode.
He needs his own show.
He needs an episode.
Like he's like cop, but not really cop. Like he's cop to the street, but he's not. He doesn't have a badge or anything.
I will say this: Moreno feels like if he was to be a dirty cop, he'd probably be a good dirty cop. Moreno would.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Because he even just has that whole street walk.
The whole
like,
swag.
He's believable, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens next. Like hopefully next week is a little bit better.
Moreno, come talk on our panel. Come on, Moreno.
I was gonna send a tweet to Justin, but I'm not gonna send one tonight. I might have to erase this episode. He's gonna be like, nah, they just poked holes all through episode 3.
You got to give him episode 1. Be like, hey, we love to have you on our show.
It's
check
because
out episode 1.
It's because we like the show. We just have high expectations. We want them to do better.
I mean, yeah, our resident detectives all like just poking holes all in it. So hopefully next week is better. We see some action between some folks. We see some other folks getting kidnapped. Yeah, I don't know. I can't even.
More Pokemon references, please.
And Frank's and what's his name's grandson from Training Day the movie.
Oh,
oh my gosh, he's the main character. I can't think of his name. Never mind. Anyways, I lost on that one. Anywho, guys, we appreciate your comments on AfterBuzz TV on the YouTube page, even on iTunes as well. Please let us know what you think. Please let us know if you actually liked the episode. Let us know if we are just completely incorrect and we are too critical on it. All that good stuff. You can follow me at TK Trinidad on everything. I really appreciate all your feedback. And where we can find you guys at.
Hey everybody, I'm Al Gregg. You can follow me on Instagram at alg_Jamaica House Film and on Twitter at SoundClashCine.
Yeah, it's your boy Emmanuel Wright. You can check me out on Instagram at Young Camel Toe and on Twitter at David Spitz.
Yeah.
There you have it, guys. We'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.